As some of you may be aware, I had to drive up the coast to Queensland to pick up my excavator, and then the day we got back, we were put on a cyclone watch. So we had like 24 hours to go to town, stock up, get some things organised, batten down the hatches. Next thing I know, we've got no power. In the meantime, Jeremy, whom you might remember has been a guest on a live stream before, or JCtheMusicMan, he's watching a video where someone has used a technique to see the invisible shockwave of a cannonball by visualising the change in pixels between each frame. I've invited Jeremy to come and talk on a live stream about how he did this and why he came up with the idea, but just for now, I just wanted to point something out. When you're analysing video visually, especially grainy or pixelated video, it can be, well, kind of like staring at the clouds. Oh my god, can you see that dog? Look, there's his ear and there's his nose. And look over here, there's a duck. That's how it goes when you're watching clouds, right? But this here that Jeremy has picked up on, this is different. This is if you see something and then you analyse it further. Is it just a bunch of blurry pixels that made my brain think it could see something? And I gotta say, JC, this is brilliant. I can't find the screenshots right now. I know they're out there on social media somewhere. But somebody did take a screenshot of a picture that looked like someone holding a crowbar over their head. I think you guys might refer to it as a tire iron, whatever. I didn't actually think much of it at the time because this has happened before in crime cases where people think they can see things that actually aren't there because it's just pixels. However, in this case, JC has analysed this video using a different software that shows us that no, this is not just pixels. Let me show you what I mean. This is the same section of footage where the screen grab comes from. Watch the people at the back of the car. And right there, it really does look like someone holding a tire iron. This is a rather subtle application of the pixel change analysis. And in comparison to the screenshot, it really does look like someone holding a tire iron. And we might think, okay, now we've got confirmation. But let's have a look at a different application of the same pixel change analysis, but this time using a heat map to show us where the most change happened. The most pixel change is marked in orange. A smaller amount of pixel change is marked in green. And everything else where there's no pixel change is just negative or polarized. So now let's watch both segments of video again, only this time I'll slow it down so we can watch more closely and work out if it is actually a tire iron. Here's the more subtle version. And here's the more pronounced version. So what do you think? Has this type of analysis given us a deeper view of what's going on and whether or not that's a tire iron? Now, you might like to replay the last 40 seconds a couple of times over before you come to a conclusion. However, the fact that I have just said tire iron like 5 times, now 6, may have tricked your brain into seeing a tire iron, but is it really a tire iron? Let's go back to the original footage now and see what we can see. Watch carefully now. I'll also zoom it in a little once we've watched it through. Does that look like a tire iron? Or did you watch a few frames prior to that and see what it actually is? Let's zoom in and slow it down. Watching carefully. There. Do you see that? It's not a tire iron. One more time, frame by frame. Watch him coming from the right. Do you see it now? It's a broom. Do you see now how tricky those pixels are? In fact, the closer you zoom in, the more messy the pixels are, the less defined the shapes are. And that's because a pixel is just one square of colour. And whether you zoom out, all the way out, or in, all the way in, it's still only one square of colour. Can you tell what we're looking at here? We're zoomed all the way in on a couple of pixels. This is just an example of thinking you're going to see more or better because you zoomed in. One square of colour is still one square of colour. Now that we understand the basics, I'm going to show you the full 5 minutes of Jeremy's pixel difference videos to see what they tell us. And even though we call them heat map based, they're not based on the warmth of the person's body. When we say heat map, we're just talking about the colour density. If it's a huge amount of pixel difference, it will be warmer in colour. And if it's a smaller amount of pixel movement, then it will be cooler in colour. So just keep that in mind. There's no infrared going on here. In addition to that, we are watching a video from the Sallyport displayed on a screen in the courtroom, which is then filmed by a cameraman on a separate camera altogether. And so we're going to see visual things that are caused by the cameraman's camera, not necessarily in the CCTV footage itself. So you'll notice in a little bit, the cameraman's going to zoom in and make the picture sort of fill the frame more. That's not the screen in the courtroom moving, that's the cameraman zooming in. But you'll see it goes orange all over because all the pixels are changing when he's zooming in. The easiest way to tell what's being caused by the cameraman moving his camera is to watch the borders around the edges because they'll go orange as well and you'll see that little bit of movement happening. It may help if I put a stable red box on the screen and then you can see when the cameraman's jiggling the camera and moving the pixels from his camera movement. Around halfway through, he finally sets the camera in a stable position and it doesn't move again. So I'll remove the red box when that happens. One more thing to note, you may remember from the courtroom, there was no audio that went with the Sallyport footage. I'm sure that was by design. However, all we're getting is the audio recorded by the cameraman filming that screen. So all you will hear if I played the audio is the sounds in the courtroom, people shuffling papers and coughing and shuffling around. I think you even see someone walk between the camera and the screen at some stage. But rest assured, there was no audio. This is what we got. Cameraman filming the screen that the jury was watching. I'm now going to let this play through to the end with no sound. And we will arrange to have JC come up and tell us about why he did this, what led him to doing it, and what he noticed when he was doing it. So keep your eyes peeled for a live stream. It'll be soon, I just don't know when because I have cloud cover at the moment. And you know, the Starlink kidnaps me when there's clouds around. But make sure your notifications are on so you get notified.